all. Nice words. We don't have money. Thank you all for being here. My niece, my children, they're all here, and so now it is my turn with the microphone. I just want to share a few words from my children. I'm going to start with Uballez and Uballez. Dear girl, you made me a father. And in our house, you are the maintainer of order. You make sure that the socks match, that the nice dresses are washed by hand and hung dry. That we make sure to pack a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for your sister on Wednesdays. You have taught me more about patience than I'll ever be able to teach you. And when we fight, because you believe, fundamentally, that there is a right and a wrong way, that the world makes sense, that order is default, and that justice will prevail. Well, my girl, laws, rules are not real. Dear girl, remember when I went to Mexico last month? I'll tell you a little bit about what I learned. In Mexico, we were shuttled around by embassy staff from the Fiscalia to the Foreign Ministry in a van full of United States attorneys. And as we drove between these places, our van ran into a parked car and kept going. And it kept going because in Mexico, 1% of crimes are solved. And when impunity rates soar above 90%, it doesn't matter what the laws make illegal. Because those words, they do not create justice. Rules are just words. They're just ideas. And sometimes that's a good thing. Because rules will tell you in a world not too long ago that women cannot be lawyers. And rules will tell you in that world not too long ago that women cannot vote. And these are rules that women did not help write. But dear girl, unless someone like you cares a whole lot, nothing is going to be better. It's not. My dear girl, these rules, they were not real. And it took brave women, like Arabelle Mansfield Lyon, to become the first female lawyer in the United States, even though the rules said that you have to be a white man to practice law. Arabella, who went on to join the suffrage movement, helped secure a rule that we like to call the 19th Amendment. And today, dear girl, I stand before you on the shoulders of great women. My mom, who immigrated to this country when she was not much older than me, and built a life in a community in this very strange land. My wife, who has broken barriers in her own career, and is wholly responsible for mine. Who signed me up for the LSAT when all I wanted to do was be a dog trainer. And who followed me to New York and supported me in law school, and whose faith gave me the strength to be here today. My best friend. And the many other friends and the strong women in my life. My leadership team, as Chris spoke about. I'm incredibly proud that 9 out of 14, 11 out of 16 of my senior management staff are women, likely for the first time in the history of this district. And these are women who make rules. And rules become real when good people make them so. So my son is asleep over there. My son Lava, my youngest, my mini. Look at that guy, look. Do you have any doubt that he is my son? Exactly like me. But I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm sorry because last year, nearly 90% of federal criminal defendants were men. 50% were Hispanic, and the average age was 37 years old. Which means that I am the average federal criminal defendant. And you look just like me. You look just like us. Because for me, homicide is the third leading cause of death. And for my black brothers, it is the number one. What system of justice allows this? Son, they tell me that the job of a lawyer is to fight in court and to be an advocate, and to be a litigant. But son, you need to know that justice is not a machine. And you can't input people and statutes and rules, pull a lever and out will pop a better world. We know this because in our world, in reality, equality is, in some well-worn words, a necessary but insufficient tool to achieve justice. And dear son, we know already the root causes of violence and systemic inequities. It's poverty, it's addiction, it's mental illness, generational trauma, homelessness, desperation. But son, all violence, be it perpetrated by the states or by its citizens, is a challenge to the system as a whole. Every murder, every death, is an indictment of our laws and of their enforcement, and every time that we fail to protect a person from injustice, our collective faith that makes the law real falters. And son, if you're anything like your dad, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make terrible ones, you're going to make unforgivable ones. But I need you to forgive yourself anyways. You are not responsible for the things you did not yet know. And you can always come home. I say to future youth, and to the young men in our community that find themselves spiraling out of control and trapped in a world of hate and a world of fear, that you can come back home. That I know that the world is cruel, and that you're survivors of uncounted trauma, and that you've received more than your fair share of trauma and misfortune. But that today, on this feast day of my grandmother's saint, St. Jude, this is your day. The day for lost souls and hopeless causes. Because I believe that is what makes you special. That is what makes you real. And just like the horse told the Velveteen Rabbit, real isn't how you're made. It's the thing that happens. As your dad's favorite rapper says, a pistol in your palm will make you real. Because son, you need to know that your dad is not a lawyer. And although I may be on one side of the verses, we are not adversaries. This is not a zero-sum game. And my job, our job, is not simply to ensure equity before the court, but to seek justice for all people. And this is a group project. And if we fail, we all lose. But if we succeed, we all win. So son, this is a time for ruthless compassion. Which brings me to my middle child. Yes, I address you last, because you have few opportunities to be the first or last at anything. Your clothes are hand-me-downs, your cries will be beat out by your sweet girl. You're quick to anger and just as quick to laugh. You're all heart. You feel the pain and the joy of the world without filter. You love aggressively. You forgive easily. Sweet girl, you will learn that aggression has offered animals a survival advantage. In humans, we have thrived. With our belligerence grounded in a biological reality, the human race has become dominant to the point where we have run out of enemies and we've turned on ourselves. The girl, raw aggression can manifest itself as rage and hostility, but it can also manifest itself as creativity and innovation and leadership. Each of us has an incredible capacity for hate and for violence, but we have an equally great biological capacity to aggressively love and to aggressively forgive. Cynicism, sweet girl, is a choice, but hope is a better one. And it's time for us to build the world that we want, but not fight the world, that we were given. Crime is generated by inequality, but crime also amplifies inequality. And this is a choice of life and death. And if that is the fundamental choice we make, everything that we do should be in the spirit of choosing life, to seek forgiveness, and to give it freely. And girl, what we are trying to achieve here is unique. We are the bastions of a new order within society, bucking every traditional form of organization, be it racial, gender, religious, or linguistic. These antiquated hierarchies have sustained humanity for many years and at great, tremendous cost. But here in a country made up of all countries, it is our job to create justice, to equal that playing field, to enforce order without a default idea of who is deserving of protection and who is deserving of punishment, to do something that does not work in theory, to become a nation of nations. And we can disagree about how to best achieve this goal, but we cannot be complacent about the goal itself. And so, my children, everything that we do is for you. I'm an idealist. I believe in incremental change. I'm an institutionalist who believes that our past does not define our future. And while our legal system might be an imperfect policy tool, a tool that remains, it's a hammer that can end a life or build a house. Because people define justice and community builds laws. And together, through forgiveness, through empathy, through love of one another, together we will build a better world for you.